What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in to the Uncommon Mindset podcast. Today, I'm joined by the beast, Natasha, Miss GB Jonas. I'll just give you a brief background who Natasha is. Natasha is a British professional boxer who challenged for the WBC and IBO female super featherweight titles in August 2020. As an amateur, she won a bronze medal in the lightweight division at the 2012 AIBA World Championships, bronze in the light welterweight division at the 2011 European Championships, and silver in the light welterweight division at the 2014 European Championships. Natasha has a professional record of 9 wins, 1 loss and 1 draw. She's Great Britain's first ever Olympic female boxer and is the mother to her beautiful daughter. It's such an honor to have you on the podcast today.
Oh, cheers for having me.
No worries, that's fine. Yeah, so I just want to take it all the way back. I just want to ask, when did you get into boxing, and like, what was your upbringing like?
So I actually got into boxing quite late. I didn't start till I was 21, and I'd come from football before that. I was on a scholarship playing soccer or football in America and got injured. Come home, and after a whole year of doing nothing, someone like opened up the doors to boxing. I was like, right, why don't you try boxing? And I didn't really want to, but I'd done it because this person kept on really bugging me. So I went, and that was like 16 years ago now. I haven't looked back since. As for my upbringing, we're quite a sporty family. We was always encouraged to be active. There was quite a lot of us all in my nan's house. My mum was a young mum, so I grew up in my nan's house. And there was a couple of older cousins that lived with us, and being them the two older cousins, they were my heroes, and wherever they went, I went. Wherever they did, I did. They had to take me with them. I was the little cousin, so you kind of just fall into the things that boys do, which it is football, riding your bike, climbing and stuff. So I was always really active, and my first love, as I say, was football. I was probably better than the lads at footy, but they'll never admit that.
Yeah. Where did you go in America with a scholarship?
New Jersey, St. Peter's University it was, and it was it was a great experience, and I would encourage anyone, if you get the opportunities, to take them and go.
Yeah, definitely. What injuries did you have?
Now the injury is probably 8 months out, but I tore me into cruciate ligament in one side and damaged the other side. So we're talking at 18 years ago now, so it was career ending at them times.
Yeah. I've actually broken my femur bone. It's one of the strongest bones in your body.
Yeah.
I actually broke it playing football.
And they say boxing's dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I just want to ask, obviously, you got into boxing at the age of 21. Boxing is such a male dominated sport. What was it like growing up, doing boxing, and did you ever feel left out or anything like that?
It's mad because I've obviously been around, the female team and the England squad and the GB squad. You hear a lot of nightmare stories, coaches purposely making things hard so girls don't come back, clubs straight up saying we don't accept women here. So when I heard that, that's like a little bit alien to me, because I was so well supported in my club. I was at the one club my whole amateur career, which was the Rotunda ABC. It was a little bit daunting walking in on the first day. When I decided our club is like an elite amateur club, it's very well renowned, had lots of champions, like Bellew, the Smiths, Joe Selkirk and all them have come from there. So, it's a very elite club. And when you decide, I was going for the fitness sessions, and they were like, well, we think that you can box if you want to do that. And I was like, well, I was 21. I was over like the whole going out and drinking stuff. And, I'd been a dedicated sports person before. I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. So I went, and once you obviously decide to do the boxing side, you have to mix in them with the boys. Now, they never had a female in their sessions, but it quickly became, I was just a boxer. And I think because of where I'd come from in football, and obviously being around two older boy cousins, I've always like competed with boys, and I've always known that when you're around a kind of in a male dominated sport, like when I first started playing football with my cousins just around the corner and their friends, I was the little girl who couldn't really play, and I was the last one to be picked. And then as the year went on and I got better and I got a bit older, a bit stronger, and I'd competed with these boys for a year, all of a sudden I was one of the first to be picked. And because of that, I think that helped me in boxing, where I didn't feel out of place being around lads. It was a bit weird that obviously they'd never been around a girl for them. But, you know, I think it was Liam Smith, the first session I went into, I was thinking, oh, this is going to be like football, where you're the last one to be picked, because you have to do lots of stuff together in pairs before you go up and do your session. And Liam Smith just went, oh, I'll be your partner. And because he was one of the, you know, top lads in that group at that time, then it kind of like wiped all the, like, you know, the kind of, oh, do we be with her? Do we hit her hard? Do we not? It kind of dispelled all that. So from that day forth, it was okay. It was okay to be with Tasha. It doesn't matter to you as a girl. She was just the boxer. And that continued through England and GB again. Were very instrumental in training us in our weight division. So when we was on GB, we didn't train as the men and the women. We trained in our weight category. So again, and we were just the boxers. And the same now with Joe's gym and Gallagher's gym. You know, I am the only female there, but I'm just the boxer. You know, I get my time, I come in and do my session and leave. And that's, you know, it's good for me. And I've never felt out of place, because I've always been treated well.
That's amazing to hear. I really like to hear that, because, you know, I have heard stories as well where girls are going to gyms and they just like, nah, you know, like how do we spar with her? Do we go hard? Do we go soft or anything like that? And that's amazing to hear. I train at Chris Reese's Academy. I do mixed martial arts myself. And we have a lot of girls that come there, and honestly, everyone's just treated equal, and it's amazing to hear that for sure. Yeah.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
You know, we're just all competing in the sport, and it's great being around a team and everyone's got the same driven focus as, you know, to compete and win, and not this is the girls, this is the boys side. And, you know, it's them kinds of barriers. I think now with the progression of women's sport, especially in the UK at this time, they're kind of breaking down, and it's like an old way of thinking. So we've moved on from that, and now we've got to break the other barriers down of, you know, equal pay and so on and so forth. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. No, I really like to hear that. Obviously you were, you know, one of the, obviously I mentioned, you were the first female boxer to compete in the Olympics for GB. What was that like? Was there a lot of pressure on your back, or what was that whole experience like?
I mean, when we'd qualified to the qualification, we'd kind of gone there and they'd said, oh, you know, you have to come top 8. And then when we got there, they changed it and they'd done it in regions. So Europe, you know, North America, South America and all that. So I knew I was top 8 in the world. I just didn't know if I was top 3 in Europe, which is what I had to do to qualify. And obviously, luckily enough, I qualified. So we went with the expectation that we were a good team. We knew that. I think it was only ourselves and Russia who qualified their whole team outright, because that's how good we were. And then when we went to the Olympics, I was like, I mean, you'll know yourself, when you're competing, the whole world hates the UK or Great Britain. So when we go to tournaments every month, and, you know, if there's 400 people in the stadium, 380 of them are booing every time that they say, oh yeah, it's Tasha from GB. So to go to the Olympics and then to have 10,000 people, I think it was, or 12,000 people in the XL Arena, and 99.99% of them were cheering for you in the biggest competition of your life. I can't even put it in words because there's nothing to compare it to. We've never had that before, and I'd never experienced that before. And it was, to win and to come out was just, it was unreal. It was unreal. I was floating for days.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's amazing. Yeah. Have you ever had any like serious injuries in boxing?
I had just a freak fall in the Commonwealth Games in 2016,
Hmm.
and I ended up middle of the bout. I think it was round 2 or round 3, snapping 2 ligaments in my big toe. I'm a southpaw, so obviously a southpaw and orthodox, we stand toe to toe, and we kept on bumping legs and standing on each other's foot, which is kind of normal. But she kind of rushed, and I'd kind of went back, and she'd fell on top of me, and I'd fell on my foot, but it fell on my foot with my toe, and it just meant my toe I heard the pop, and I thought, right, I've broke my toe, but I just carried on, and I ended up losing anyway. And when we came out, and we didn't even want to take the shoe off because I'd said I'd broke it, and then when it got scanned and stuff, I'd snapped the 2 ligaments, and that injury meant that I couldn't qualify for Rio because I had to get it reattached, and that was the end essentially of my amateur career.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned your southpaw. I'm southpaw as well, so it's class. Yeah. It's kind of weird because it's like me and like 2 other people in my gym that are southpaws, and everyone else is orthodox. So it's kind of nice to be a southpaw. But that sounds so painful. Yeah. Wow. Oh.
Yeah, it was just a mad fall. I've never the worst thing that I'd had before that in boxing was like a cut eye and a bloody nose, but you half expect that.
Yeah.
I had way more injuries, like as you said, playing football. So
Yeah, no, of course. What are your like long-term goals at the moment then?
obviously a challenge for the world title, and it was a controversial draw, I'll say.
You crazy fight. Yeah, you crazy fight.
And I've always said, like, I'm getting on a little bit. I won't tell you how old I am, but I'm getting on a little bit. So I've always said I came back into the sport to be the best, and that's still my ambition and my drive and my goal. So anyone who's got a title between 130 and 140, they're my targets. I don't want to go back down to go back up. I've proved I'm world level, and I want to stay there.
Of course, yeah. And obviously I mentioned earlier, you've got a beautiful daughter. Congratulations. It's amazing to see. I've seen her photos of her on Instagram, and she looks exactly like you.
Just a lighter version.
Yeah. What was that whole experience like becoming a mother? Did that change anything about you in general and like you with boxing? Did you ever feel like, oh, I need to step back now or anything like that?
Well, after the injury, and I knew I couldn't qualify for Rio, that was when I decided to, I knew I was never going to stay till 2020. So when I retired from amateur, I was like, okay, I'm ready to have a baby now. So I had it quite quickly. I think I'd had it within a year of retiring. And, being a new mum, I'm from a massive family, and I'm always around kids, and you learn things as you go along and as new kids are born. But being a new mum and this child is yours is a whole different experience. And there was so much pressure, and I felt so much pressure to be perfect. And there's so many, bits of information that you're trying to learn from the professionals, and then advice that you're trying to take from other people, and be this perfect mum. And it was so stressful and so hard. But then boxing takes up so much time in your life that I was worried. I went back to my amateur gym and started doing a bit of coaching before I had my daughter. And then when I had her, she filled that void because it was so much work. And then she got into her own little routine at about 1, and she was going to nursery, and she did this at this time, this at this time. And then my world was like, what do I do now? Because that void that she filled was gone, because she was in her own routine, and we knew what she did and when she did it. And when I was an athlete, I always thought that it was the routine that I absolutely hated, but really and truly, it's the routine that drives me on to the next day and keeps me focused on what I'm supposed to be doing. So then when the opportunity came about to turn pro, my whole life, all I've ever done is took the opportunities. Some they've worked, you know, and some that hasn't, like America. But I would rather sit back in 10 years and say, well, I did it and it didn't work, than I wonder what if I would have done that. You know what I mean? So when the opportunity came, I just took it, and it's tough to juggle. But like I say, and I think it was a lot. The Harper camp was a lot tougher because we went through a first lockdown in the March, and I was supposed to be fighting in the April, and that meant, you know, I'm a self-employed athlete, so if you don't box, you don't get paid. So I was worrying then about financially, about whether it would even happen again, whether I'd ever got that opportunity again. So then in the June, they said, right, no, it's all back open. You know, it's going to be behind closed doors, but you just come box. So then, yeah, it was just, but then the schools had closed. So the baby had to come to every single, and still now, as this lockdown's here, she comes to every single session. She's, you know, I was chasing her down tracks, and it was a brilliant camp in the sense of she was so involved, because she's not normally that involved. You know, I'd drop her to school, I'd go and do my 2 sessions, come back, pick her up, and to there, and mummy goes to work. But in that Harper camp, she knew what mummy's work was. Then she was coming to my work. She was like, "Is this, mum, do you come to the gym for your work?" I was like, "Yeah." And then we'd go running on the track, and like Joe would go, "Mila, go," and then you, Tasha, go. So mum go. So I'd be legging it after, but she had a ball. So she had a great time. But I think she appreciated more, and it was a more special camp because she was so involved.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Do you think that she like, are you going to try to get her into boxing as well, or are you just going to like let her choose what she wants to do? What's the process of that?
Yeah, no, I think you just, I'll let her do what she wants. I think I will do what my parents did, which was encourage me to be active. I think, you know, a sport will find you more than you will find a sport. I tried about 105 before I actually fell into boxing. So, yeah, I think there's lots of things that, you know, sports instills, and yet that is good life lessons, and put you in good stead as a productive adult. So I will encourage her to be active, but her sport is her choice. And I think there's a little bit of added pressure if you go into the same sport that your parents been in, because people will always compare you to your parents, especially if they've been quite successful.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah. I'm the same. Like I used to love playing football. Like I used to literally think about it the whole time, and I used to love it. But I don't know, just like 3-4 years ago, I just fell out of love with it, and I was like, oh, I need to find another sport, and like mixed martial arts was the one that I'm gonna stick with now for sure. But yeah,
I actually tried a little bit with in Next Generation here in Liverpool.
Oh yeah,
With like Molly McCann, and we had
have
Liam
you done
McCall
that?
over. So and I don't know if I was properly getting into it, but I did find that like my body was just breaking down. So I don't like, I appreciate now, like, and as a, like, I'm an armchair fan, do you know what I mean? So when I watch it, I'm like, oh, why don't you just do this? Why don't you just do this? And when you're actually in there, you realize how technical it is, and just doing that gets you in 5 other headlocks that way. So yeah, I appreciate it more now that I understand it a bit better, that I've had to go. So
Yeah.
hats off to you.
No, for sure, for sure. Would you ever do like an exhibition fight or anything like that? Where like, have you seen all these YouTubers that are trying to do like the boxing? What is your opinion on that? And like, would you ever do anything like that with like a different YouTuber?
I mean, I will never say never,
Hmm.
because you know, it comes back to bite you. But I think, you know, some of them that are getting the Floyd Mayweather fights, and the,
Hmm.
you know, there's athletes that have dedicated their life to this sport and put their life on the line every time that they get in the ring, and don't get them opportunities. And then there's people from YouTube who are doing it just for a little bit of fun and a little bit of, you know, a new creative kind of stream, who are getting these opportunities. And that's the part that I think's unfair. I mean, you know, boxing professionally is a business, and it's an entertainment business. So, you know, yes, they do bring a new audience. Yes, they do, you know, put pay-per-views, money on bums on seats and all that. But it's disrespectful, I think, to the people who've dedicated their life to the sport and still don't get them opportunities.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree with you for sure. I think like them doing the, you know, them coming over to boxing and stuff, you know, fair dues on them because obviously they're putting themselves out there. But you know, there are people that are dedicating their whole life and they're not getting that opportunity to fight Floyd Mayweather, you know, for sure. Yeah. You touched on there as well, obviously about the pay difference between male and, you know, female athletes. Has that ever been like a worry for you? Like, have you ever thought of, oh, I need to do something else on the side of boxing to actually make like a good living?
And initially I did youth work and being involved in school programs and like extra stuff, coaching stuff. But when the further I got into it, the more time you need to dedicate to it, the more serious you get. But yeah, I think, I mean, when you start off in boxing, especially with a promoter, a TV promoter, when you've got a TV promotion company backing you, you all start off on the same figure. So you normally get paid per round. If you're, you know, on a ticket selling deal, then you'll get paid, you'll get a percentage of the ticket money you get. So that's the same across the board. The problem is when it gets higher. And, you know, I think, you know, some big promoters have made statements. So, you know, female world championship level boxers are only getting paid like English or British title of men's money. And that's a huge difference. And now I'm not saying I deserve Anthony Joshua money because, again, it's an entertainment sport. People love to see heavyweights and, you know, he's a big name and a big brand in himself. But our pay should be fair and reflect. You know, I think Heather Hardy put it best, and she said, you know, I was going to these, you know, we have the press conferences, and you know, I started out with some guys, and I was sitting at the table, and we're both at the bottom of the table, and as the, you know, 6 months later, 8 months later, a year later, these guys that she started are moving up the table to headline, and she was still sitting in the same spot, and she weren't moving up the table. So there's a discrepancy between how you're promoted, essentially, just because you're female, and that's the part that's not right. There's people that was in the males that was in the 2016 Olympics, Josh Kelly, you know, Josh Bawatsi, and a couple of others who, you know, Chantal Cameron was in the team, you know, Savannah Marshall was, and they're not getting the same treatment as the males, and that's the bit that's not fair. They're not getting anywhere near the same pay. But if you promoted them equally, then it'd be fairer. But we're not, and I don't think no female is asking for equal. They're just asking for fair.
Yeah. No, that's great. Like, you've definitely hit that on the nail for sure. Obviously, you know, have you seen all these, you know, females actually doing bare knuckle fighting now, like Paige Van Zandt and stuff like that? Would you ever get into anything like that? Because she had a interview before her fight, and she actually said she got paid 10 times more in her bare knuckle fight than the UFC itself. So would you ever do anything like that? Not just for the pay, but just in general?
Again, like, it's mad because when I was saying that I was doing the training, in the next gen and doing a bit of MMA training, all the lads in the gym was like, I'd love to do just one, just to see what it's like. And I don't think there's a boxer out there that wouldn't want to just try one. Yeah. But then, you know, I just went to try boxing, and 15, 16 years later, I'm still here. So it's that, you know, I don't think the people that you have to be an athlete, that I don't think that ever dies. And if you moved into another sport, you'd probably want to, I'll just have one and then you're like, well, actually, I won, or it's quite good, or I want to try another one. I want to do it again. I want to do it on this, and you're always chasing the high, and that's why the sport keeps you in it. So I'll never say never, but yeah, I don't think so.
No, that's amazing. I know that you've been around a lot of high level people, and you're a high level person yourself, of course. Who's one person that like stands out to you that you've met or that you've sparred, like that's just on like a different level with like their mindset or anything like that?
There's loads, to be honest. Again, when all the lads, when everyone's training for a date in our gym, there's no better time, because you can just see the hunger in everyone's eyes, and again, you're competing, and if they do 40 jumps over a bar, you're going to try and do 42, and the next time they're going to do 44, and I think that comes with everyone in the gym. But trying to think of one in particular, I suppose Anthony Joshua. He's lost that, like, when you're a bit young and you're a little bit hungry, and you're like, you kind of got a chip on your shoulder. I don't mean that like a chip on your shoulder, but now he's very like, he's confident and reassured and self-assured of himself, and he's meticulous about how he plans it, what he does, what he says, and I think that's good. Also, the likes of Manny Pacquiao, who's just relentless. Just you can't do this. Yes, you can. He can't. Every time someone puts a barrier up in front of him, he tears it down, and I think that's admirable to watch as an athlete yourself.
No, of course, yeah. I'm really a huge fan of Ryan Garcia. He's actually going to be fighting Manny Pacquiao soon as well, which is kind of crazy to see. But yeah, no, that's amazing. What goes through your mind like when you're walking out to a fight? Like, do you ever get really nervous? Are you ever like, oh, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this anymore? Do you ever get like that when you're like walking out to the fight?
I spend the whole camp thinking to myself, why do I do this? Like, there's got to be an easier sport. I spend the whole camp thinking that to myself, and then I remember thinking it to myself. It wasn't the last fight; it was the fight before. Thinking, why am I like? Why do I do this to myself, my body? Why do I do it? And then, just as they said my name and my ring music came on, I was like, my heart went a little bit. And I was like, that's why. This is why you do it. This is why you do it. And then I just walked in, and I was like, and I think, yeah, it's just that you're always chasing that first, the first high that you get of when you win. You want more, and it's an addiction.
No, of course, yeah, no, that's amazing. I've heard a lot of people, they say that literally exactly like you, like they're kind of nervous before they go out, and then they hear the song or like the walkout song or the name that the person says, and they just like, wow, like this is why I'm here for sure. That's amazing.
It's mad, because I can sit on Sky DAZN and talk about boxing, and I'm very comfortable, and then I can box in front of 12,000 people, I'm very comfortable. I can speak in front of a whole assembly, a school full of kids, but then if I go into the head's office and I'm talking to the head, I'm like, I'm dead nervous. I just like, there's certain things that just is like a thrill to me, and then there's other things that are just like, I get dead embarrassed and shy about. If people ask me for my autograph, I'm like I'll do it dead quick and then like leg it. So it's mad, because I'm not a nervous person generally anyway, but there's certain things that do make me like just so outside my comfort zone. But sport and boxing and speaking about it and living it, and that's my comfort zone.
Yeah, No, of course, yeah. You should get used to the autographs, because I feel like as the years are going on, the more autographs that you're going to be signing for sure. That's amazing. No, yeah, no, thank you so much for your time, Tasha. Honestly, like just listening to you is amazing. And like I said, like I'm a huge fan of yours, and hopefully, if I was in person,
Bigger
I
than
would.
Ryan Garcia, bigger than Garcia.
Yeah, of course. If I was in person, I would have asked for your autograph as well. So hopefully soon, hopefully soon. But before I let you go, have you got anything planned now? You know, for this year, have you got any fights that you're thinking about, or who would you want to fight next?
Listen, whoever's got a title, 130, 135, 140, that's who I'm after. So, you know, they're welcome to call me. They're welcome to call me management team. I'll be ready.
Of course, that's amazing. No, thank you so much. You know, all the best to you, all the best to your daughter as well. Hopefully, you know, next time I'm in Liverpool, I'll definitely come and visit your gym and come and visit you as well. But yeah, thank you so much. I really respect your time. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. See you soon.